Hey guys, welcome to the first video of 2014, and to that we're gonna have a nice little toast to you guys because I can officially say now I am back in the game. Like I'm not just lost. See, before when I was making videos and doing giveaways, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I knew dragon rules were a thing and spellbooks were a thing, but I didn't know what they were. And then dragon rulers were still a thing after that, but mermills and stuff wasn't really popular. And now I came back, and the first thing I got was a Bujin Deck, which this video is going to profile in a couple of minutes. And I played against Heretic Dragon and mermills and gravekeepers and everything. So now I understand what's going on. But to the main topic of the video, if there is one, I'm going to be deck profiling my Bujin deck because it's something that I can actually do. Basically, I've been doing pretty well with it. It's not the greatest deck in the world. I've never thought Bujin's was a really good. I didn't think it was a great deck. It's just a decent deck, and it's really popular. I love how it works and it interacts with the damage calculation and battle steps. Everything happens there. They protect themselves and they blow things up. And games 2 and 3, I'm always siding about 10 cards because I automatically know that people are going to side lighting, prisoning, and soul drains, and all this other nice, fun tech because people, even though the deck isn't that good, everybody really does hate the deck. So it's more of that whole, oh, the deck's not good because you can side against it so easy. But that's the problem. You got to draw into the side half the time. And I will showcase to you my deck, which really is just the only deck that I have, and I'm just preparing for the next set because if you don't know, there are still 2 more Bujins coming out, Harume and Amaterasu, and they make that deck dumb. So cheers and enjoy the deck profile. Some good stuff right there. Okay, like I said, this is going to be a deck profile on Bujins. Well, my build of Bujins that I'm currently running. I just want to note again, the deck to me is good. It's not great. It's extremely easy to counter. I consistently am siding in like 6 to 10 cards game 2 almost automatically, not only to side against what my opponent is playing, but to also side against what they're teching to stop me. So basically, I'm teching things to stop light imprisonings and everything else that they might side into me. So, you know, it's more of a, like, the reason I played is because I personally like the interactions with damage. To me, it kind of reminds me of Gladiator Beasts, when you had to make sure the gladiators had to stay alive, but a little bit different because it's a little bit more aggressive and it's very, very simple. Get one out on the field, punch everything in the face, control the board, and you'll eventually dwindle life points down to 0. So just remember, this isn't the final build because we still have one more set. And without further ado, I will go into the actual first profile. 3 Bujin Yamato, superstar of the deck. Next up, 2 Bujin Mikazuchi. He works really well with replacing the Yamatos when they get destroyed to keep field presence. And his second effect when you drop a crane is really cool because you can set up your Bujin reincarnation plays while adding the reincarnation to your hand. 2 Bujin Arasuda. A lot of people are just playing 1. Some people are even saying they're not playing them at all. I'll be completely honest. I think they're crazy. I believe the entire hair interaction, basically anytime something is banished, it'll special summon itself to the field. And it's got a 19,000 defense, so special summon defense mode, but it combos really well when I'll show you later on what you can combo into and what kind of play you'll set up. So that'll be explained, but at least 1 should be run. I don't think you shouldn't just not run him at all. 3 Crane, you already know why. Doubles the attack. Yeah, I'm not gonna treat you guys like you're stupid. Doubles the attack, makes things stay alive. Yeah. 2 Bujinki Hair, followed up by 2 Turtles. Next up is just 1 Quillin and 1 Centipede. Reasoning being, games 2 and 3, people are going to side the ever-living crap out of you. And you also do have reincarnation, so you can possibly recur these effects again. They're mainly there because they're kind of big. You have 16 attack and 17 attack, so you can just punch if you need to. And you can overlay these two if you happen to summon them. They're versatile. They do different things. They go into your Susanoo. They're good, but I don't run it anymore because I don't want to become too reliant on Centipede or Quillen. It's nice if it goes off, but I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket with Quillen being my monster removal and Centipede being my back row removal. Also, good to note, to correct myself, you can get rid of face-up spell and trap cards too. So if you're playing Dark Worlds or something with a field spell, banish, blow it up. And then you banish that one to blow up a face down. Trust me, there's somebody out there that didn't know that. And my personal 2 tech choices for Bujin. 1 Bujin Peacock and 1 Crow. Crow is good because it'll negate the attack and make him take half of whatever the attacking monster had, which saved me twice in person and on DN. In person, I played a Gravekeeper deck and punished them for trying to attack with Malefic Cyber N, because, you know, you have Cyber N and it can get over the Yamato because it'll only become 36. Yeah, Crow just says no and makes you take half of that, and after using Chaos Trap Holes and Solemn Warnings, he only had 2,000, so that was game. So Crow has its uses. Peacock is the other searcher. You could think of it as a, you know, like another Tenki in a way, a hand Tenki or something, because it can add Yamatos or any Bujin for that matter. But it's also really good. It thins your deck by 1 card when you activate it, but you also have a very easy side out. So I'll explain that later, but it's easy to just take him out to put something else in games 2 and 3. But he is good. I just run him at 1. He's awesome. I like him. And lastly, 1 Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Bear and 1 Honest. Honest is self-explanatory. They're all light. You drop Honest, you drop Crane, and they are mad because you'll chains work backwards, you'll double, and then you'll gain everything, and you could possibly OTK. And then Bear is there because you're running, you know, I run 3 Tenki, which you'll see, and it's just good to have. And once again, it's like Peacock where I can easily just side him out depending on the matchup. If it doesn't call for Bear or Bear's really not going to help me, I could just side out Bear. I won't need to use him because I have better things to do. And yeah, it pretty much makes life a little bit easier. But Bear is awesome, and I'm not going to lie, he does look awesome ulti. But yeah, Bear, Honest, and that rounds out the monster lineup. On to the spells. Starting off the spells, I run 3 Fire Formation Tenki. Searches out Yamatos, Mikazuchis, Arasudas, and it gives them 100 attack. Good card. Combos well with Bear, obviously. There's not much to say, you know. Next is 3 Mystical Space Typhoons. Like I said, I do not rely on Centipede. I will not rely on my monsters because so many people seem to hate Bujins. And some people do just main deck certain cards that hurt my deck. So to get rid of those same hate cards, I run 3 MSTs. My reasoning, if I MST the card that's hurting my Bujins, then my Centipede can just go off and blow up something else. I'm not going to rely on the Centipede because it might not always be there. 3 MSTs, it's available at 3. I run 3, get my bases covered. Next up, 2 Forbidden Lands. I'm only running 2. I'm kind of tight on space. It was kind of a hard cut to make, but it's been working out really well for me. Obviously, I can't just run 1. I would probably never draw into it. 2, I can work around it. The turtles kind of help me. This games one, I usually have turtle and I won't have to worry about the heavy side. But Lance is just a good card. It works well during the damage. Everybody will expect a crane, and you can use, it's versatile. They'll attack you, they'll expect you to drop the crane, you flip the lance and boost their monster down, and all of a sudden they're like, well, damn it. And then they can't lance you because they'll waste their lance because the Bujin will just double its attack. Sorry about kicking my stand. So Lance is just another one of those protection cards, but also attack manipulation during damage step cards that really just throws the whole thing off, and that's where Bujins really shine when fighting is going on. I mean, they were called war gods for a reason in Japan. But yes, Forbidden Lance, I just run 2. It's been working for me. I would run 3 as well. I'm not saying I wouldn't. Good card, but you guys already knew that. Next is the Bujin Reincarnation. This card is just dumb. Honestly. This card is probably the best card in the deck. You are limited to what you can special summon, which would be Wing Beast, Beast Warrior, and Beast type XYZs. But it's just so good. The reason I say it's really good is because even with the one bottomless, if you summon the Yamato and they bottomless the Yamato, and then you set a turtle and they punch into the turtle, you can normal summon another Bujin monster, if it's a Beast Warrior or anything for that matter, and you'll banish the turtle and it'll make this live. And if they still overextend to get rid of that one monster, whether it's Yamato or something, as long as you have a Bujin in the grave and remove from play, Bujin Reincarnation will special summon. You target them, special summon them to the field, and then you have a free XYZ. It's like Miracle Fusion, but better. It limits, it's fair because it limits, and it has this whole Cyber Dragon activation requirement. They have to control a monster while you control none. But it's just so good, especially when you bait out back row like warnings and bottomlesses, and you bait out the DD Crows and you're already activated. Mid to late game, this card wins the game because all the back rows have been expended, options have been taken away, and then you top deck this or you hold on to it till mid to late game if it gets that far, and this pretty much seals the deal and allows you to win the game. Come next set is definitely probably going to get run at 3 because I will not care with the amount of spam that the deck is going to do. But as of right now, just running 2 because 3 does come up. When you have 3, 1 does come up a little bit much. And even though you can set it as a bluff, you kind of want something else. But I love this card. It's so good. And it's so stupid. And the last spell card that I run is Book of Moon. When you see my traps, you'll probably automatically think to yourself that something else could be used instead of book. I could take this out for book. It's more about the side deck thing. The deck is already tight on space. It runs really well. But then when it comes to side decking, you don't really want to disrupt too many things. Book of Moon is one of my defensive options, but I can live with siding it out. That's really the reason. Book of Moon is a great card by itself, but when I side it out, I don't feel hurt. I won't find myself saying, damn, I really wish I had that Book of Moon. So Book of Moon is great for my game 1, and depending on how game 1 goes, games 2 and 3 might be in there, but it's just a good card overall. Stop XYZ, stop synchro summons, they attack, you just book the monster, that whole thing. We've all played Yu-Gi-Oh before, but it's also really good to me because it's easy for me to just side out most of the time. I can say I can live without Book of Moon, but when I run it, it's just great by itself anyway. And that's really what I'm trying to get across. Started side decking a lot recently, and I think that's the most important part. Things that you can take out that won't hurt you, but are great when you're playing with them anyway. And Book of Moon is one of those cards. Love it. Next up is my trap cards. As you can see, I run 2 Fiendish Chains. 1 Horn of the Phantom Beast, keeping in with the tradition of everything happening during damage and battle cal and stuff like that. Horn of the Phantom Beast, I don't really see it go off much even when I was running 2 or 3s, but when it does, it's beautiful. 800 attack, that makes anything 17 and above around 25, 26. It becomes a really huge beater that this card targets centipedes, Quillins, everything in the deck. Everything. Not just the Yamatos and such. So when you summon the Quillin there or you summon the centipede, people think, oh, you're just summoning it so that it could go to a graveyard. So when you do summon the Yamato, they'll think to themselves, oh, I have the bottomless, so I'm gonna punch this. You're gonna summon the Yamato. If you don't have a turtle, the only thing you'll have is Lance and blah blah blah. So this card is good because you'll summon a Centipede or something. They'll attack. They'll think they're safe. You flip this. Centipede becomes 25, and you draw a card. The whole deck is Beast Warrior. So this card, even at 1, is still very dangerous because any potential monster you summon, even if it's one of the graveyard monsters you want in the grave, can become a beater that lets you net a card for destroying something. This card is really good. I wish I could run more, but due to space and the way everybody plays against Bujins, I can only run one. That's the only thing I could justify. But it's such a great card, even back during TG Stun days. It's good then, still good now. 1/7 Tools of Bandit. I've been seeing this card become really popular. It's good. It's good. The only thing that usually scares me is drawing it too late, but I usually draw it pretty decently, or I won't even see it at all game 1, which I might even side it game 2 depending on the matchup. But they activate something like a warning or something like that. They still pay cost. You pay 1,000. They just, warning becomes, pay 2,000 life points to make your opponent burn for 1,000. Pretty much. Like, it stops that. It stops trap stuns. It stops compulses. All that stuff. It's a good card. It's not amazing. There's a lot of people that think it's the best thing in the world. I think it's just a good tech card, and it usually it gets the job done, or it baits out MSTs and stuff like that for my more important reactionary cards. So it's good. I like 7 Tools. It gets to stay. Next is Bujin Regalia, the Sword. This card I kind of treat it like a Horn of the Phantom Beast for most of the time. Basically, they attack. They'll bait out all the cranes, and they'll attack, and then when you least expect it, you flip this. They declare the attack. You say the attack goes through, you flip this, you add the crane back in hand, and then during damage cal, you drop the crane again. Next up, Vanity's Emptiness. I used to have like 10 of these or something, but when I came back home, they were surprisingly all missing. Now I only have 1 or 2. Second one's somewhere around there. If I was around for when these went up to like $10-15, I definitely would have made a lot of money. Anyway, I'm getting off track. The one Vanity's Emptiness, there's still a lot of decks that special summon, my deck included, and this is a good preemptive strike. So you flip this and they just can't special summon. And special summoning against Bujins is real important because game 1, you need a Synchro or XYZ into something to try to even get over the Susanos, the Kazakuchis, all that stuff. Vanity's Emptiness cuts that option out, and now all of a sudden they have all these small monsters, and they have to figure out another way to get rid of Vanities first, to make you get rid of a card on the field, to then punch over your monsters. So, Vanity's Emptiness was good last format when dragons were running around. It's still good this format because this card is great. The one Dust Tornado. And next is 1 Solemn Warning and 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. Alright, on to the extra deck. Starting off is 2 Bujin Susano. He is the MVP of the extra deck. Punches everything once, adds something to your hand or sends it to the grave, and 4,800 beater with Crane. 1 Bujin Kagisuchi. He mills 5, which can sometimes work to your favor. He's kind of like the light. He acts like a light swarm when he hits the field. He mills 5. He can either mill great cards like 2 turtles, 2 hares, awesome, or all your back row hate, or all your back rows to stop monsters, which sucks. But he does have the trade-off is nice because he has a protection ability for any Bujin, and he can potentially become 3,100 with tanking on the field. Because it's not just Bujin monsters, it's Bujin cards. So if you unfortunately mill the sword and the reincarnations, you still get 100 because they count as Bujin cards. The new release, Bujin Tsukiyomi. A lot of people aren't even running him. What I've grown to realize is that games 2 and 3, he can actually be very beneficial. After you've sided game 2 and 3, and let's say you need to stall for a little bit, you need to dig a little bit deeper for cards, and you have a setup, He is very situational, but I have been in a situation where I've summoned him and he really just won me the game. You detach and you basically drop a card from your hand to the grave to draw 2 cards. Usually when you do it, it's for... First time I ever did it, dropped the turtle to the graveyard, which I wanted it there anyway, and drew into a Yamato and another back row card. So it's a decent card. 18 attack, 23 defense. Not the greatest stats. You usually put him in defense mode. However, he becomes very important next set anyway. But he's just all around. He's a decent card, especially these games 2 and 3 when you're playing the really long, drawn out grind game and your opponent is digging for answers and you dig for answers. This lets you dig a little bit deeper, a little bit faster. So he gets my seal of approval. Next up, number 101, Silent Honor Arc, or Shark Knight, like it was called in Japan. It's like a mini Big Eye, I guess. It's a restrict, whatever you want to call it. You detach 2, you suck up a monster, and then when it would be destroyed, you detach a material to protect it. They summon something huge, and Susano, going into Susano isn't an option. Going into any of your Bujins isn't an option. Let's say you're playing games 2 and 3, and they're negating light effects and stuff like that. You go into this guy, they summon a big monster that you know you can't get over with your regular Bujins. Go into this guy, detach 2, suck him up, and just sit on him. Let them try get over this guy, whether it's through outs that you would actually rather them use on this than a Bujin, and continue digging in deeper. Obviously, that's not the only way, but that's when I really use these other XYZs, games 2 and 3. I love this card. I borrowed it. I'm just going to give my friend the money, like, here, take it. I don't even remember what card I took out for this. This card is really great. Really great. 1 Evil Swarm Extinction Knight. This card is fair, if you can understand that. Basically, one of my favorite plays is to have it like a Susano's out on field and I can't really do anything, so I normal summon and then I'll banish the hair to protect the Susano and then special summon the Arasuda. Use this guy's effect, blow up the field. Susano stays on the field, so I don't have to sit there with just the Exciton Knight, because they can find ways to get rid of Exciton, especially since he's been released. However, getting over this and a Susano, that's a little bit different of a story, especially when you have another hare and another turtle in the graveyard and stuff like that. It's also nice. It's also nice and bad at the same time that he is a light, because you can run honest with this. If they want to attack and then, let's say, flip Fiendish on you before, like, you know, or bait out your effect activation, you can actually just drop Honest instead of just using his effect, just to use his effect, you know. So they want to sit there and they want to summon a monster bigger than you and then attack into you. Obviously, they're going to try to bait out your explosion. Don't do it. You can actually just drop Honest. And now you have another free blow up the field. So they're obviously not going to set anything. And then you can continue to win the game from there. It's kind of a win more card. I wouldn't say it's staple, but it's kind of like a condom. I'd rather have one and never need to use it than be in a situation where I need one and don't have it. So that's why I run Exciton Knight. This card's really good too. It's Exciton Knight. Come on. Star Liege, Paladinamo. He's one of those options. He's a good card. It's pretty much it. The only time I really see him coming out is when I have to summon something besides Susano and Mikazuchi for whatever reason. His effect, detach 2, make something 0. You know, it's to get over things that those two, the other guys, the other Bujins can't get over. That's what he's there for. Nice little bonus of drawing a card when he's destroyed and sent to the grave. This card's awesome. I love him. He stays. Next is Constello Omega. The other reason that you run this, besides the fact that it's obviously 2 light monsters, is because he's a Beast Warrior. That comes into play when you have Bujin Reincarnation. Like I said, it's a mid to late game card. And sometimes mid to late game, you don't have Susanos left. You don't have Mikazuchi. You don't have Tsukuyomi Tsukiyomi. So this becomes one of your very few options, and because it's 2 level 4 lights, you're not restricted, because obviously you would probably go and grab one of your banished turtles or hares or something so that they can go back to the grave. Constello Omega is a good card. His effect is kick ass. Detach. Constello is not affected by spell traps, including himself. He's still a light. He's still 24. If you have the honest, most of the time you have game. Constello Omega, really good because of the way he works with Bujins, even though he's not really a Bujin card. He's an amazing card too. One, Brotherhood of the Five Fist Tiger King. Another really good card to run with Bujins. Diamond Dire Wolf. I've actually made a real funky play with him where I used Bujin Reincarnation and there was a banished Susano due to Bottomless. I brought back the Susano, which my opponent immediately said I was cheating, but it says any Bujin, so I brought back Susano, brought back a turtle, then I normal summoned Quillen, and then I banished Hair to protect the Susano, and then special summoned Arasuda. Went into Diamond Dire. After going into Diamond Dire, I used his effect, detached the Quillen, targeted the turtle, blew that up, blew another card up. I still managed to keep my Diamond Dire. It's a really unique situation where you can actually go for that kind of play, but Diamond Dire works really well with Bujin Reincarnation because he is a beast, and he's just an all-around good card. You'll usually find yourself 1-for-1ing with him in sticky situations. One Abyss Dweller because mermails are annoying. Pretty much. One Gagaga Cowboy because if your opponent has 800 life points left, you might as well just say you have none, because if you don't stop this, you're going to die. One Mostroke, I see myself not really going into him. I've gone into him once, and that was against Dark Worlds, just to get the boost and push for game. But he's still a good card, still protects himself, field presence, all that good stuff. He's not as good as he used to be, especially with number 101, but I still run him until something else better comes along. And keep running him as well. Number 50, Black Ship of Corn. Got something that you can't get over with Susano or Mikazuchi for some reason. That's weak. Less than 21 attack. Summon Black Ship of Corn. Detach material. Send them to the graveyard, which is always awesome, especially when you do it to Zen mains. Send them to the graveyard, make them burn for 1,000. Photon Papalopera, whatever the hell this name is. Photon Butterfly. This card is great. I've played games where I've played against Girgias and stuff like that. Once you see my side, you understand. Flip them face up and then just beat face pretty much. And it's a light, so honest, all that good stuff. I run one, and that pretty much rounds out all my XYZs pretty much. Yeah, so on to the 15 card side deck. First 2 cards, Mirror of Oaths and Soul Drain. Mirror of Oaths for things like Madoches and stuff like that. They special summon from the deck. And also, both these cards against Mermails. The whole reasoning behind it is if I get my combos off, if I'm able to get a setup, I can flip these. I treat Soul Drain like Roll Oppression. Get my setup, get my effects off, and then if you try to go get your effects off, I'm going to flip this and you're going to be mad. If anything, I can just activate Hair because I needed Banished just for Reincarnation. But yeah, the deck, just flip Soul Drain, Mirror of Oaths for any searchers, and just clean house after that. I side one huge revolution is over. This is for Black Rose and Exoton Knight. Basically, Starlight Road is good, but Starlight Road can also be hit with warning. It could be hit with a couple of different cards. And the Stardust, I mean, I don't have any space for Stardust now, but I like the Speed Spell 3 better. And even more, I like the fact that it banishes the card that was activated. 2 Mistake. This is pretty much for decks like Karakuri, Geargia, Mermails, anything that a lot of decks are searching the decks now. They're going into things, even Potted Duality. I run 2 of these because even though I search through my deck as well, if I have a Susanoo on the field, if I have my graveyard set up, which really will not take that long, and then I flip this at a key point when you need to search, even just a Yamato and Crane, I can hold my field down and draw my cards for my resources. I've probably already dumped something into the grave. I flip Mistake on you and I slow you down, and I'm already ahead by a card or 2 in terms of advantage because something's in the grave which I can use. There's something on the field. I most likely have a Crane in hand, but now you cannot get over the Yamato. You have to find a way to bait out the turtles, and if you're not sure, a lance or 2 that's in my back row. This card is amazing. I understand why it jumped up to around $40-$50, whatever it is. It really does slow the game down and creates an old school grind game of Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 Black Horn of Heavens. Basically, any deck that XYZ's like my deck. Anything that XYZ's a lot, this is for them. This is for Madolches. This is for Dragons, Heretic Dragons. This is for all those decks that like to special summon a lot of cards from the extra deck. Just flip this over on them. The effect is negated. It's in the graveyard. You slow them down. You stop it. It's a speed spell 3, so they have to use 7 tools on this. This card has risen in popularity, and I understand why. Because everything's going from the field to 2 monsters to either Synchro or XYZ, and this card works wonders against all that stuff. Really good card. Run 2. Definitely try to pick these up because they're really useful in the side deck. 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors. Basically, Evil Swarms. If I do end up playing Evil Swarm deck, it doesn't really happen much, but Evil Swarms is one of the few decks that just kind of messes mine up because I solely have to rely on Cranes, on Crows. I can't rely on back rows like Horn. Well, not Horn, but you can't use your Lances, things like that. You can't just randomly MST. That deck does what Bujin's does now, but just so much better with the back row control. And this slows them down a little bit because their monsters are bigger than Bujin's. That 50, that extra 1650, 1750, that will make a difference. And some of them even get bigger, and they're really, they are the dark deck to our light deck, and this helps slow their effects down. It helps slow their game down while you can still go off with your effects, but it doesn't matter because they're probably going to side Light Imprisoning anyway, so it helps slow the game down to a grind game. And the last of my traps is Fairy Wind. Basically Fire Fist matchup. It's just a really good card against them. They activate Tensus and Tenkis and their War Chariot looking trap card that gives them 700, and they activate their lockdown spell card that locks one of your back rows. They will more than likely have a field of about 3 to 4 face up spell or trap cards. This card just blows them all up, and that's very important because they lose all their boosts when they do that as well. And since that Fire Fist and Bujins pretty much go toe for toe in terms of attack because of all those spells and traps, this really just sets everything back to your favor. And the 300 times damage that it deals to both of you guys can really come in handy, especially mid to late game, because then if they have a face down warning, and it might just push them right past 2000, so they can't use warning, so it's a really good card against Fire Fist. If I would change it, it would be 1 Fairy Wind and 1 Overworked, but 2 Fairy Wind's been working well for me in the matchups that I've had, but Fire Fist and Bujins can go either way. This is just something to tip the scales in your favor a little bit. So yeah, run 2 of these, or you could just run 1 Fairy Wind, 1 Overworked, whatever suits you. The only 2 spells that I'm running in my side, Kaiser Coliseum. This card was really good when the deck first came out, and it really didn't have anything besides Yamato, Crane, and Turtle. Kaiser Coliseum is so good, against decks that try to swarm. That is really the one true way to truly beat a Bujin player, is to try to swarm them and just overpower them for at least a turn or two to close the game. Kaiser Coliseum stops that. Kaiser Coliseum also baits out an MST. So when you have this set with Warning and a Black Horn of Heaven and stuff like that, this will give them a false sense of security as well, because if they go, oh, I have the MST for the Kaiser, they'll continue to make their plays thinking that was your true only play. But then you'll flip your Warning and your Black Horn of Heaven. However, Kaiser Coliseum is still very, very good. If you get it off and it stays on the field, it really, really messes with your opponent. Because obviously you'll have a Yamato that they can't get over. And then you'll overlay into a Susanoo, which they really can't get over. And as long as you just keep 1 or 2 monsters on the field, it's very difficult. Even if you get 2 monsters on the field, there's not that many 2-card combos, which actually just blow everything up. So even Exciton Knight, if they summon Exciton Knight because you're building all this advantage in your hand and they want to blow up your field, first of all, Susanoo has hair, so you'll protect him. Or you'll just have Black Horn of Heaven for the Exciton Knight. Kaiser Coliseum is still very good. It's excellent against decks like Constellars and Dragons that try to just swarm out everything. It's just an overall good card. So, and last but definitely not by a long shot least, 2 Trap Eaters. Now, like I said, when I built the deck, I was realizing games 2 and 3, people would just side automatically against me. Trap Eater is the answer to that. Trap Eater is so freaking effective. It really has. I can't tell you how good this card is. The thing is, the card reads that you have to send an opponent's face-up continuous trap card to special summon this guy. So basically, the way it works is like this. You put him on the field, and then you send the continuous trap card. Or what I started doing is I reveal him and say, I'm special summoning him. Remove the face-up spell and trap card. Because of the way he's worded, which is... Oh, obviously you guys can't read that. You know, this card cannot be special summoner set. This card cannot be special summoned except by sending 1 face-up trap card your opponent controls to the graveyard. Sending the trap card is cost. So what that means is you have to send the trap card regardless what happens. It's like when you pay Solemn Warning to negate a monster. They pay Solemn Warning and then they dark bribe you. You still pay the 2,000 life points. I'm sorry, I still have to send up your face-up Light Imprisoning Mirror. I still have to send up your face-up Mistake. I still have to send up your Soul Drain. I'm so sorry. I have to send that up. It sucks so bad. And that's why Trap Eater is really good. 1900 body. It's a tuner. I don't even have any freaking synchros. But if I did, I would run a Stardust or something. But it is a level 4. Which means I can overlay into one of the other many extra cards that I have in the extra deck. This card is really good as a counter side card, basically. So you have a side card. This is a counter side. Because you know 3 cards automatically they're going to play. Light Imprisoning Mirror, Soul Drain. This card just says no to them. So it gets rid of them. So basically you trade out the card that's slowing you down for a 1900 beater that can actually overlay into one of your other XYZs, whether it be Exciton Knight, number 101. It's just really good. I cannot stress how good this card is for the counter side against so many decks. And do not be surprised if you just start seeing Trap Eater. And that was my Bujin Deck profile. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what's going on next. And the mat that was in the video, I will be giving this away too. So make sure to stay tuned for my next video where I actually go ahead and give you the details. I haven't done a giveaway in so long and I kind of feel really bad. So I'm definitely going to be starting that up, even though it won't be as much as every single month. I'll be giving away small prizes like mats and sleeves and stuff, and some cards that I may come across too. So please comment, like, subscribe. I will put in the description my actual usernames for Dueling Network and DevPro if you actually want to play against this build that you just saw and see how it does and see how you do against it. But I will let you know I'm a really bad player though. Like I really do suck at the game. A lot. Anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel and the older videos that I did and see some of the cool contests that I've done in the past. Let me know your ideas and such in the description below, and start clicking ads so I can actually, you know, maybe be able to do more contests soon. Come on, you guys obviously know what I'm asking for. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. Peace out.